and welcome back to my walkthrough to Crash Bandicoot 2 here on the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy for PlayStation 4. In the last episode we finished off the story mode. We defeated Cortex and also we collected all the gems, so we got to see both main endings, and now we only have one more slot to fill in all these walls. We have filled in the crystals, filled in the gems, but those relics, those pesky time relics, are still there to be collected. So, I'm going to start off with Turtle Woods, but just before I actually sort of go through, before we actually give Turtle Woods a try, I just want to give some sort of, just like a little guide to a lot of the sort of tech, I guess, that you're going to be thinking about using throughout these. So obviously we now have the speed shoes, and the speed shoes changes everything. Obviously we now run faster, but there are other things that the speed shoe do. It means that the slide jump, i.e. this, is the fastest method of movement. This wasn't something I realized for a while, but I have had a little look at some of some other people's sort of videos and stuff like that, other people's times, and essentially for the fastest times you see everyone just slide jumping everywhere. It is the fastest method of movement, and that's why. So generally we're going to be slide jumping a lot. Now, obviously, we can't slide jump everywhere because of enemies, because of, you know, holes and difficult, you know, essentially areas where we can't slide jump. So it's not something that you can do all the time, but it's something to be, you know, something to keep an eye on. If you're not slide jumping and you want to use the slide, you should always try and slide spin, because even if you do that, you see I have to stop afterwards, whereas if I slide spin, I can actually continue onwards. Let's see, there you go. So that's slide spinning. If I slide, I then, you see how that is slightly slower. Similarly, if I'm sprinting and I spin, it takes me, I actually slow down, if you can see. It's quite difficult to tell, but essentially when I spin, I am actually slowing down. I've never noticed how, like, if you notice Crash's footprints inside the mud and stuff like that, that's a nice little touch. But yeah, I wonder if, good, he leaves a Crash print. Anyway, you know, yeah, so essentially, whenever you're spinning, the best way to spin an enemy is to slide then spin into them. That's the fastest way, as far as I can tell. Spinning into an enemy normally, jumping on an enemy normally is going to be slower than than just sprinting, and sprinting is actually going to be slower than slide jumping. The final bit of tech that we really need to talk about is the slide spin jump, which is this. So essentially you slide and then you hit the X and square button at the same time, and you'll see that Crash does this sort of cool move where he jumps up into the air diagonally, and he gets much more length and much more height in his jump, and this makes it really, really important. So slide and then X and square at the same time. And that's really important, especially in this level, because I think we're going to need those slide spin jumps in order to get over the pits that are throughout this level, and if we can dodge the pits, then obviously we can get some fast times. So let's give this a go. Turtle Woods. That's not a great start, I'll be honest, given that we missed that 3, but we'll see how fast we need to be. So naturally, like, getting boxes and stuff is also going to be slower than actually just trying to... Nice. Okay. So there we go, that's our first slide spin jump over the pits. Balls. Come on. Okay, so good practice. We got a lot of good jumps there. We'll just die because the whole process of leaving and coming back in is actually going to be longer than just restarting. And we know where we went wrong there, which is good. So obviously we want to spend as little time as possible in the water. I didn't get any jump off that. Ah, come on. Why are we not hitting that? Slow. Yeah, just a mistimed spin jump there. So, now, you should know that I don't consider myself to be particularly, like, brilliant. I'm not going to be getting any world-beating times here. So, I think what this run is sort of, like, just sort of there to show you what you can do, even with what is limited skill, certainly. Wait, why? Why didn't I, just bounce off him? This is when you start, this is when we'll start to see sort of the big flaws in the game, like hitboxes that are a bit weird and stuff like that. You can see that the wading through the mud is really slow. And so when you're in the air, yeah, you do a body slam. So now, I'm probably dying a lot here, sort of unnecessarily. We can probably get through without, like, a perfect run, as you would think. But I want to sort of, start off with a good time. And it's like, that's possible, but you've got to be really, really quick with it. I wonder if we can slide spin through the mud. I wonder what happens there. That's actually pretty fast. Man, I've got to stop doing that. Come on. A little slow there, but yeah, it's difficult to get a spin out of there, essentially. It's really difficult to try and get a spin out of the mud water. Okay, so what's this going to end up being? It's not too bad. 4469 is platinum. So there we go. So you see a lot of slide jumps, a lot of speed runs. I'll just do a normal running just to sort of see what sort of comparable time we can get. Obviously, I did miss I missed a 2-second box there. I feel like it's just going to be interesting just to sort of show you the comparison between the two. I mean, like I said, I've seen everyone, everyone who's like getting world record times and the super fast times. They're all up there, getting, the really fast times all use the slide jump. So we can only assume that that is what we need. We do need 45.47. We've got 44.69. So that is, less than a second, but, still pretty fast. I think Turtle Woods is pretty, it's not as tight as, say, Sanity Beach was, but I think there's a lot more sort of things to get wrong, I guess, with something like this. So this time we're not going to slide jump, we're just going to, I'm not going to slide jump unless it's sort of obvious that we should be slide jumping. and we'll just see what our time ends up sort of being around. Do you want to take the inside line around a lot of the corners? So we missed that time box again, so this will actually be relatively representative. So this time we're going to see ourselves, so drip slightly below 44. So that isn't actually platinum, that is 46.90. Just a little slower, obviously. We did miss the 2 box again, so you can see that without the slide jumps, it becomes a little tighter. I think those 2 runs were relatively representative, like they seemed pretty similar. But yeah, no, so that's just going to show you that the slides are going to be really important. So do your best to sort of try them. Again, if you're messing up with them lots, then, you know, you don't need to do it all the time. I think the tendency when you find out something's really fast is to just try and overuse it, as it were. Especially on, like, say, it's going to be the same with, like, the polar bear levels, for example, where we know we can boost, which is obviously going to be faster than just running. But at the same time, you can't boost everywhere, because otherwise you'll, you know, mess up a lot. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it for this first episode. And hopefully we'll find... subsequent relics are just as easy to get as that one on Turtlewood. So, hope you have enjoyed this episode and hope you'll join me on the next, where we'll take on Snow Go.